Hello everyone, Melderon TV here. Fear not, this is not another shaman guide, I promise. Today I would like to do something different. I would like to go over an integral part of Vanilla WoW that rarely gets focused on, but, in my opinion, made Vanilla unique and helped create a living and breathing feeling to the world of Azeroth. I'm talking about non-instance dungeons, or elite areas, as some say, or as I love to call them collectively, outdoor 5-man content. Dude, I love outdoor 5-man content, because I love doing this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Love outdoor content. Dude, I'm telling you, man, this outdoor 5-man content is no joke. Dude, I'm telling you, outdoor 5-man content is so fun, dude.
Okay, you and this outdoor 5-man content, Phil, I think we need to have intervention.
As you can see, I really love this stuff. If you have little experience with MMOs or are coming from a retail WoW world, this may seem very alien to you. Basically, non-instance dungeons are areas that contain elite mobs without being separated from the rest of the world via a dungeon portal. That's right. Anyone can walk into a elite area at any time and interact with everything inside, both NPCs and players alike. If some of you are cringing right now, you are not alone. In my experience, people either love or hate non-instance dungeons for many reasons. But before we get into the pros and cons, I just want to clarify that when I talk about elite areas, I'm not talking about the outdoor section of instance dungeons, or a single elite mob that needs to be killed for some quest, nor am I referencing outdoor raid bosses like Lord Kha'Zix or the Dragons of Nightmare. I'm talking about areas that are there mostly for leveling players, and are not associated with instance dungeons as they have their own quests and lore and are populated with many elite mobs, not just one. Just wanted to make that distinction. Okay, let's go over the pros and cons to find out why people either love or hate non-instance dungeons. First, the pros. The first is that they provide an alternative experience to both normal questing and grinding. Sure, there are almost always quests associated with these elite areas, but these are quests that require the aid of other players, and therefore add a new dimension to the gameplay. Number two is that they encourage interaction and socialization with other players in the same questing area as you. A lot of times, these interactions lead to friendships, guild invites, and further collaboration with other quests in the zone. Number three is that these areas add to the dangerous nature of the world and enhance the storyline. They make the world feel more real. Usually these areas incorporate plot points, characters, and items that are integral to the story that each zone is trying to tell. Moreover, these elite areas are not hidden behind some swirly portal. They are real and can be interacted with by anyone. Stray close to the area and you will surely regret it, unless you're with a group. Number 4 is World PvP. If you are playing on a PvP server, and one of these elite areas happen to be in a contested territory, there is a very good chance that the opposing faction also has quests in the area. I'm sure you can see where this is going. It's always hard not to click on a member of the opposing faction and then an attack spell or ability normally. Now imagine how hard it is when you have 4 other people that have your back, or supposedly have your back. It's almost downright impossible, especially when that group of the opposing faction are actually focusing on the quest objectives. It's basically a free ticket to deliver some pain. This, of course, may not be appealing to many, and that's why I've also made it a con. Speaking of cons, let's get into those now. The first and probably the biggest elephant in the room is mob tagging. Since you aren't instanced off from the rest of the world, anyone can come in at any time and tag certain quest mobs that your group may need. I can tell you from experience, there is nothing more frustrating than when you are fighting your way through a bunch of elites, working your way to their leader, whose head you must bring back to the quest giver, when another group walks over the fallen corpses of your enemies and tags the mob just as you cleared the entire way. Yeah, you basically just rolled out a red carpet for another group. Of course, the proper thing to do is if you see something like this, is to let the group who cleared the way get the mob tag, right? Right? This is never the case in my experience, and with elite mob respawn timers sometimes topping 15 minutes, this can be very bothersome. Especially if population sizes are high, which we will talk about right now. If population sizes are high, and many people are leveling in the same zone, non-instance dungeons will make you pull all of your hair out. Hell, now you know why I'm bald. Just kidding. Long respawn timers coupled with scores of people in an area will make questing in non-instance dungeons near impossible and extremely frustrating. This is just another reason why Blizzard should keep population caps relatively low when Classic launches. Finally, we have the PvP aspect, which either you love or you hate. That's why it winds up in the cons section as well as the pros section. Although I will be the first to admit, it really sucks when you've cleared an entire area and begin attacking the boss NPC that your quest giver needs you to kill when a group of the opposing faction starts attacking you and kills your party right before you get to kill or loot the boss NPC. You've just spent a half hour clearing mobs and now you have to do it all over again. Not fun at all. Well, after going over those cons, you may be thinking, Why in the hell would anyone put themselves through this crap? Is it even worth it? I'll just do a normal dungeon. If you feel this way, you are not in the minority. Even though instancing technology existed at the time, it was clear Blizzard wanted a healthy mix of both instanced and non-instanced group content in the game. However, if you fast forward to the Burning Crusade, these areas were largely removed from the questing scene and instead relegated chiefly to max level areas for reputation reward grinding. Then, with each successive expansion, these areas slowly became extinct. It was clear people did not want to risk time and energy into these quests and areas if both your own faction and the opposing faction could really hinder your progress. Okay, warning, what I'm about to say is an opinion. I'm sorry if I offend anyone. Limiting and ultimately removing these areas over time was a huge mistake on Blizzard's part in my opinion. Although I love instance dungeons very, very much, having both types of dungeons exist in the game at the same time provided so much to the game. Non-instance dungeons provided more lore for the player to experience, they made the world feel more real and more dangerous, they made the flavor of each zone really pop, and made each zone feel unique. They made you and your character invested in each zone, as there was some darkness or danger just over the horizon that you and your party must stop in order for citizens of the town or area to survive and flourish. Non-instance dungeons also provided the player more options and ways to level, and provided another mechanism for players to interact and socialize. Finally, in contested zones, they promoted world PvP, something everyone seems to yearn for more and more as years go on. What more can you ask for? Aren't these improvements worth a potential headache? A headache that you don't need to have. These areas were optional. You didn't have to complete these quests to get the level cap. There were always other options, including instance dungeons and non-elite quests. Non-instance dungeons were something that really made the game unique, and are, in my opinion, one of the best aspects of vanilla WoW. Well, that's enough melancholy for now. I would like to highlight how integral these areas were during vanilla. They were literally everywhere. How many of these areas were in the game, you asked? The answer will blow you away. Let's split things by continent, and go over the Eastern Kingdoms first, as it has the vast majority of the non-instance dungeons in the game. Here is a map of the Eastern Kingdoms. Each pin you see on the map is a non-instance dungeon or elite area. Yeah, just about every zone has one. There's a total of 17 in the Eastern Kingdoms alone. Just a reminder, these areas are not associated with instance dungeons. They are their own exclusive area with NPCs and or quests unique to them. Let's go over my favorites in the Eastern Kingdoms. My top pick is definitely Genthil Lore in the Hinterlands. Genthil Lore is a multi-tiered troll city with literally scores of trolls living in it. And I'm not using the word city lightly. When you're questing in here, you really feel like you are raiding a troll capital. The Horde has a ton of quests here, but even the Alliance has a couple worth doing. The sheer scale and amazing aesthetics of this place definitely give it the top score for me, regardless of continent. My second favorite is definitely Stonewatch and Red Ridge Mountains. This is an Alliance favored elite area in which you are pitted against Blackrock orcs that have taken over a castle and tower located on a cliff face. This one is definitely a lot of fun, and I really highly recommend checking it out. My next favorite is Horde only and is located in Silverpine Forest, known as Pyrewood Village. Pyrewood Village is a ton of fun. Located below Shadowfang Keep, this area is filled with humans that actually turn into Worgen at night and howl loudly. What else can you ask for? Convinced yet? It is also one of the first elite areas players will come across while leveling. I also highly recommend Stromgarde and Narathi Highlands and the ruins of Alterac and Alterac Mountains. These are also really great and they have a ton of lore behind them. I could literally spend all day talking about this. But for now, here's a list of the names of the elite areas in the Eastern Kingdoms. Pause the video if you want to search for a specific one. Strangely, Kalimdor only has a total of 12 elite areas, with only about half of them having quests associated with them. A lot of these areas are higher level as well. I'm not sure why this is, but it is definitely apparent. It may have to do with the sheer amount of lore associated with the Eastern Kingdoms from previous Warcraft games. Anyway, my favorite on Kalimdor is for sure the Worm Bog, located in Duskwalla Marsh, not too far from Onyxia's lair. This area is very open and is populated with many dragonkin, drakes, and whelps. There is also a cave system infested with dragonkin warriors that you and your party must steal into and retrieve quest items. This one is a lot of fun. My second favorite pick would have to be the Isle of Dread, directly south of Feathermoon Stronghold in Feralis. This area is teeming with elite Naga and will prove to be a difficult area for even the most seasoned adventurers. Here's a list of all the elite areas in Kalimdor. It is interesting to note that there is a total of 20 instance dungeons in vanilla WoW, while there are 29, give or take a few, non-instance dungeons. The reason I'm mentioning this is twofold. The first reason is that, with so many dungeons, both instance and non-instance, there exist many options for group content in vanilla WoW. This ensures socialization with others, as well as preparing players for endgame content. The second reason I bring this up is that it really gets into the mind of the developers at the time. It was clear that the designers wanted the player to immerse themselves into the lore and into the world in different ways, not just via an instance that is separated from the rest of Azeroth itself, but also to experience all the game has to offer while the world changed around them, enforcing a type of reality and permanence. I implore each and every one of you to do as many of these non-instance dungeons as you can when Classic launches. I think for many of you, you will understand why these areas were so important to the uniqueness of the game. And for those of you coming from retail, I highly recommend that you go into these with an open mind and with some patience. It will be a very different experience than you are used to. But some of you may really prefer this style of group content. Well, that about does it for me. If you love non-instance dungeons, tell me why in the comments below. If you completely despise them, also tell me why in the comments below. Love them or hate them, I want to hear your opinions. Do you think Blizzard made a mistake removing them from the game? Or do you think it was the best and most logical decision ever made? Also, if you enjoy non-instance dungeons, what are some of your favorites and why? If you liked this video, please leave a like below. If you enjoy this type of content or are interested in other types of videos we make here at Defcamp and Melderon TV, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more DefTalk interviews with WoW creators and enthusiasts, Melderon's Classic WoW vlogs, and Super Plate Brothers Let's Plays. Also, join us on Discord to be part of the Defcamp and Melderon TV community, and follow us on Twitter for video updates and more. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching. This is Melderon signing off. Keep on keybinding and grinding, baby. Oh yeah.